Thuja,
Thuja, Thuja,
Thuja,
Thuja,
Thuja,
Cupressaceae. Cupressaceae. Cupressaceae.
Today we're going to look at our first family of non-flowering plants, a family of conifers. There's not anywhere near as many families of coniferous plants as there are flowering plants. The UK only has 3 native conifer species, each in their own family. Pinus sylvestris, the Scots pine, in the Pinaceae, Taxus baccata, the yew, in the Taxaceae, and Juniperus communis, the juniper, in the Cupressaceae. It is the Cupressaceae, or cypress family, we will look at here. The Cupressaceae are all woody perennial trees and shrubs. There are over 130 species, which are found across the world on every continent except Antarctica, in all sorts of habitats. The family is very important economically, with some being important timber trees, for example Lyrax decidua and Lyrax kaempferi, the common larch and Japanese larch. Many are grown ornamentally as landscape and garden trees, like Thuja occidentalis, the white cedar, Chamaecyparis lawsoniana, the Lawson cypress, and Cuprocyparis leylandii, the Leyland cypress. Their wood is used to make many artifacts and products, and certain species are of great cultural importance in different parts of the world, like Thuja plicata, the western red cedar, and Cryptomeria japonica, the Japanese red cedar. As conifers, the Cupressaceae don't produce flowers, but they do produce cones. These cones are either male or female, and the plants are either monoecious, meaning they have both types of cone on the same plant, or are dioecious, meaning the female cones and male cones are found on separate plants. The male cones are small, sometimes very, and produce large amounts of pollen that they release into the wind for wind pollination of the female cones. The female cones are larger and mostly consist of woody scales that fit against one another or overlap. These scales are generally arranged in a spiral or opposite one another. Each scale has a bract that's fused to it. The seeds are found on these scales and are shed once mature when the cone scales open. In juniper, the cone scales are fleshy and look like a berry. The seeds are not shed from these, but are dispersed when animals eat the ripe cones. Cupressaceae leaves are entire and contain resin, which makes them aromatic. Give them a rub and have a sniff. The leaves of mature plants are generally very small, with a scale-like appearance, and grow pressed against the shoots. They are arranged oppositely on the twigs, with the pairs at 90 degrees from each other, or in whorls. You can see these sorts of leaves in Chamaecyparis and Thuja. In some species, the leaves are more needle-like in Taxodium or Metasequoia. In addition, many species have different leaves when they're young. This juvenile foliage is needle-like and can be seen in Juniperus. Cupressaceae are mostly evergreen, though a few species do shed their leaves for part of the year. The bark of Cupressaceae is often fibrous and also contains resin. So, if the tree or shrub you're looking at produces cones of 2 different types, and the larger female cones either have woody scales or are fleshy, the leaves are opposite or in whorls, and scale-like and growing pressed against the stems, or needle-like, and the leaves and bark are aromatic, then you may be looking at a member of the Cupressaceae.
Rife with. Изобилующий, кишащий.
Your tavern is rife with health code violations. Your tavern is rife with health code violations.
It was rife with misspellings. It was rife with misspellings.
After a week rife with a fetor of sin.
Fetor.
Fetor. Fetor.
Fetor.
After a week rife with a fetor of sin.
Rife with opportunity for people of low morals.
It was rife with historical inaccuracies.
I'm rife with fleas! I'm rife with fleas!
He has some fanciful notion about converting one room of his apartment into a gallery. He has some fanciful notion about converting one room of his apartment into a gallery.
Fanciful.
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 Baloney.
Baloney. Baloney.
Baloney.
Anyway, I proved my point because the reason they mumble the name of the hotel is because they're staying in a doss house on the Edgware Road.
Doss house.
Das Haus.
Doss house.
Das Haus.
Doss house.
Das Haus.
Flop house.
Flop house.
Flop house.
Flop house.
The jibe about being undercover. The jibe about being undercover.
Jibe.
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 Насмешка. Насмешка. Язвительность. Колкость. Издеваться. Подшучивать.
Wouldn't trust him to tell me the time if we were standing in front of Big Ben.
He insists he's known Pashkin for years, but he's reluctant to go into details.
He'd have run rings round you. Wouldn't trust him to tell me the time if we were standing in front of Big Ben.
He insists he's known Pashkin for years, but he's reluctant to go into details.
He'd have run rings round you.
He let you down. As everyone does. Your knight turned out to be a knave.
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 We got oafs and knaves and serfs for that.
Prepare for thy doom, thou scurrilous knave. Prepare for thy doom, thou scurrilous knave. Prepare for thy doom, thou scurrilous knave.
Scurrilous.
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 Грубый, непристойный, бранный, оскорбительный, лживый, насмешливый, шутовской.
My government is very displeased by a number of scurrilous and totally unfounded attacks on the Third Reich that seem to emanate from the office of your ambassador in Berlin.
Some article in a scurrilous journal.
Prepare for thy doom, thou scurrilous knave, huh?
Editorial is Karl's personal attack. Upon me, my race, my father's name. Editorial is Karl's personal attack. Upon me, my race, my father's name. Editorial is Karl's personal attack. Upon me, my race, my father's name.
With that snake in the grass, that low-life, scurrilous cad.
Who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Who was in life a foolish, prating knave.
From desk.
Listen well, you slack-jawed knave.
From desk.
Listen well, you slack-jawed knave.
Slack-jawed.
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 Slack-jawed. Slack-jawed.
With your mouth open in surprise. С отвисшей челюстью. Разинувший рот от удивления.
Cad. 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 Cad.
A man who behaves badly or dishonestly, especially to women.
Ah, cad, knave, rake, rascal, villain. Ah, cad, knave, rake, rascal, villain. Ah, cad, knave, rake, rascal, villain.
Knave.
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 Халуй, грубый человек, хам, невоспитанный человек, невежа, скотина, грубиян, невежда.
Watch your language, knave. Remember, I'm a lady.
Ooh! You scurvy knave! Ooh! You scurvy knave!
Scurvy.
They're knaves.
Has anyone seen this knave? Has anyone seen this knave?
Knave, thief, surrender! Why?
Well, if that's how you get your kicks, it seems like a misuse of office to me.
Because she's a Russian sleeper agent. Because she's a Russian sleeper agent.
Sleeper agent.
This is our haven, my friend. Our Erie. This is our haven, my friend. Our Erie.
Airy. Airy.
Орлиное гнездо, гнездо хищной птицы.
This meeting is a dry run for him to step in here with Diana Taverner.
Dry run? You're doing yourself down, Arcady.
All his fault, the penny-pinching fucker. All his fault, the penny-pinching fucker. Risking the nation over a few quid. All his fault, the penny-pinching fucker. Risking the nation over a few quid.
Put that out. Put that out.
You know, it's quite tiring having to chivvy you along like this. You know, it's quite tiring having to chivvy you along like this.
Chivvy along. Chivvy along. Chivvy along.
Подгонять, кого-либо, подстегивать.
What? You think the kidnapper signed their real name and address? Sean Donovan.
Well, it's something to go on, isn't it?
It's nothing to go on, babes. What? You think the kidnapper signed their real name and address? Sean Donovan.
Well, it's something to go on, isn't it?
It's nothing to go on, babes.